Aaron, a seasoned pilot, had always trusted his instincts, but more than that, he trusted Max, his loyal, highly trained Belgian Malinois. Max wasn't just a pet. He was Aaron's partner, the one who always kept him grounded, even in the chaos of space. Their latest mission took them to the planet Eleron, a place dominated by an advanced species known as the Xyrelians. The Xyrelians were a cold, logical race, deeply structured, with no room for emotional connections, especially not with animals. Upon landing on Eleron, Aaron immediately felt the dissonance between himself and their hosts. The Xyrelians were intrigued by humanity's strange dependence on emotions, especially the bond humans shared with their animals. They couldn't understand the concept of a pet, much less a partner like Max. To them, it was inefficient, a waste of resources. But things changed when a sudden attack from a rogue faction disrupted the diplomatic talks. Aaron and Max were thrust into the heart of the chaos, surrounded by enemies. As the Xyrelians observed, they saw something they'd never witnessed before. Max's uncanny ability to sense danger, his quick reactions, and the unspoken connection between him and Aaron. In one particularly tense moment, Max leapt into action, warning Aaron of an ambush, saving not only his life but also the Xyrelians who had been caught off guard. The Xyrelians watched in stunned silence as Aaron and Max, with no need for words, fought side by side with precision and instinct. Max, in his own way, was a soldier. After the initial attack was thwarted, the Xyrelians began to re-evaluate their perception of Aaron and Max. The bond between man and dog wasn't just sentimental, it was strategic. Xyrelians, known for their tactical brilliance, started studying this strange relationship. They realized that Max's loyalty wasn't just based on training. It was a deeper connection that allowed Aaron to perform at an extraordinary level. This bond created a synergy that the Xyrelians couldn't replicate with their technology or cold efficiency. Aaron, now working with a small Xyrelian team, was assigned a covert mission to eliminate the rogue faction's leader. Max, always by his side, was crucial to the mission's success. They moved through the dense jungles of Eleron, Max using his senses to detect enemies long before any human could. The jungle of Eleron stretched far and wide, an endless maze of thick vines and towering trees. The dense fog made visibility a nightmare, and the rogue faction of the Xyrelians had the advantage of knowing the terrain. Aaron crouched behind a thick boulder, his eyes scanning the horizon. Max was by his side, ears perked, nose twitching, sensing the unseen dangers lurking ahead. The Xyrelian team moved in their typical, methodical formation, silent, precise, and cold. They relied on advanced technology to track their enemies, but Aaron had something they didn't: Max. The Xyrelian officer, Arethal, had been skeptical of the dog at first. To him, an animal was an unpredictable variable, but after witnessing Max in action, even Arethal couldn't deny the dog's worth. Max's head snapped up, his body tensing. Aaron knew that signal. He raised his hand, signaling the Xyrelians to halt. "Max senses something," Aaron whispered, his voice low but firm. The Xyrelian warriors exchanged glances, unsure whether to trust an animal over their scanners. Suddenly, the jungle exploded in a flurry of motion. Enemy Xyrelians, their sleek bodies covered in bio-armored suits, emerged from the fog, their plasma rifles blazing with deadly precision. The rogue faction had launched a surprise ambush. Aaron dove for cover, pulling Max behind a fallen tree as plasma blasts seared the air around them. The Xyrelians on Aaron's team returned fire, their energy weapons lighting up the darkened jungle in rapid bursts. But the enemy was relentless, pressing forward with the confidence of those who knew the land. Max barked once, a sharp, urgent sound that Aaron recognized immediately. The enemy was flanking. "We're getting boxed in," Aaron shouted over the roar of gunfire. He watched as Arethal's squad struggled to hold the line, but their rigid formations were no match for the unpredictable tactics of the rogue faction. "Arethal, fall back. They're coming around," Eren ordered, his voice cutting through the chaos. "We do not retreat." Arethal barked in response, his pride as an officer overriding common sense. Eren cursed under his breath. Pride wasn't going to save them. He turned to Max, who was already crouched low, ready to move. "Max, with me," Eren commanded. Without hesitation, Max darted forward, zigzagging between trees, his powerful legs propelling him through the thick underbrush with uncanny speed. Eren followed, relying on Max's instincts to guide him through the treacherous jungle. Plasma fire rained down around them, the heat of it palpable on Eren's skin. But Max moved with precision, dodging enemy fire with an almost preternatural awareness. As they reached a small clearing, Eren spotted the enemy's flank, a group of 3 heavily armored Xyrelians moving to cut off their escape route. Eren raised his rifle, firing controlled bursts, aiming for the weak points in their armor. His shots were well placed, but these Xyrelians were tough, shrugging off hits that would have downed a human soldier. Max, however, was already in motion. He lunged at one of the Xyrelians, his jaws clamping down on the enemy's weapon arm with brutal force. The Xyrelian stumbled back, trying to shake the dog off, but Max was relentless. With a powerful twist, Max disarmed the soldier, sending the plasma rifle skittering across the jungle floor. Eren took the opportunity to fire a clean shot, his rifle aimed directly at the exposed joint in the Xyrelian's armor. The plasma bolt hit true, and the enemy soldier fell with a grunt, the light in his eyes fading. "Good boy," Eren muttered, adrenaline coursing through his veins. But there was no time to rest. More enemies were converging on their position. Eren could hear the shouts of his team struggling to hold the line, but he knew they were outnumbered. "We have to break through," he whispered, his eyes meeting Max's. The dog seemed to understand. Max bolted forward again, his sleek form disappearing into the shadows of the jungle. Eren followed, trusting his companion completely. They moved as one, weaving through the trees, avoiding enemy patrols and dodging plasma fire with uncanny precision. When they finally reached the rogue faction's command post, Eren crouched low, his breath steady despite the chaos around him. Max was beside him, his eyes locked on the enemy leader, a tall, imposing Xyrelian clad in a dark, metallic exosuit. This was the one they had been sent to eliminate. The final assault had to be quick and decisive. Eren signaled to Max, and the dog took off, circling around the enemy encampment with silent, deadly intent. Eren counted the seconds, his finger hovering over the trigger of his rifle. Then, all at once, Max struck. He lunged at the Xyrelian leader, knocking him off balance with the full force of his body. The enemy stumbled, his rifle slipping from his grasp. Eren moved in, firing a single, precise shot at the exposed section of the Xyrelian's neck. The leader crumpled to the ground, his body lifeless. The rogue faction, leaderless and disorganized, began to fall back, retreating into the jungle. Eren watched as his team pressed the advantage, cutting down the remaining enemy soldiers with brutal efficiency. The battle was over. Eren knelt beside Max, running a hand through the dog's fur. "You did good, Max," he whispered. Max's tail thumped against the ground, his eyes tired but alert. Arethal approached, his expression unreadable. "Your animal," he began, his voice thick with hesitation. "It fought like a warrior." Eren glanced at Max, a small smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "He is a warrior." Arethal nodded slowly, his cold, logical mind processing what he had witnessed. For the Xyrelians, battle was about strategy and technology, but Eren and Max had shown them something different, something primal, something born of loyalty and trust. As the team regrouped and prepared to head back to the extraction point, Aaron couldn't help but feel that something had shifted. The Xyrelians, once dismissive of emotion and connection, had seen firsthand the power of a bond that went beyond orders and tactics. And in that bond, they had found a strength they had never known before. For the Xyrelians, it was more than just an alliance with humanity. It was a shift in their entire way of thinking. They had seen that sometimes the greatest strength wasn't found in technology or logic, but in the silent, unbreakable bond between a man and his dog. This was the beginning of a new chapter for both species, one where emotion and loyalty had a place alongside strategy and reason. Max, ever by Aaron's side, had not only saved his life but had changed the course of galactic history, and the Xyrelians, once cold and detached, began to wonder if maybe, just maybe, there was something to learn from these humans after all. I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye. See you in the next story.